What's going on, everybody? And welcome and good evening. We are Positions on Sports Talk Show, post live streaming on Facebook Live and our Positions on Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans from the perspective of the fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. That's us. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports. Welcome to the Post Power Play Fantasy Football Show. I'm joined tonight by ultimate contributor and my brother, Sense. Say what's up to the people tonight.
What's good, everybody? Another fantasy football week in the making, in the works. Let's get you right and let's get it.
That's what's up. So you got the dynamic duo tonight. Fellas, if y'all jumping in, come on in. But tonight we're going to hold it down and give you all the fantasy news that you need to get you ready for kickoff. Now, we know tonight is not a big game. We get that. But some of y'all might have some key players that's going to get you some key points so you can win your games this week. So stay tuned as we run down because we got a couple nuggets for you even for tonight. In that right sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, of course, I'm your host tonight, Professor J, joined by Sense. J3 may pop in and make an appearance later. But, of course, we'll be looking for all of you guys on the chat to keep us going and keep us motivated. But if we change those lineups tonight, listen to us because, look, we've been hitting on some money lately. We don't gamble, but like I said in the very first show, we give you some nuggets of wisdom based off of research, not just a gut feeling. So if you make those lineup changes, trust me, you'll be thanking us later. And if you mess up, don't blame us. Don't call us. We ain't home. But that's good. So let's get cracking. Of course, tonight we got your pertinent injury news and fantasy news shorts. And we'll follow it up to let you know who you should sit and who you should start. And if you don't know yet, maybe we'll help you out tonight. Then, of course, we got the top dogs, the sleepers, the quick hits, the quiet storm, and the closers. So let's get cracking with your injury report. So I know you guys might not be used to hearing his name, or maybe you are, but over the last several years, it's Le'Veon Bell. Surprise, surprise. He's got that old hamstring injury that could be lingering for a couple of weeks. So they're looking for him eyeing a week 5 return. So Jets Le'Veon Bell eyeing a week 5 return against the Cardinals. He may be a good start then, but we'll see how he practices, and we'll make sure we give you some love on whether we think he should start or not. What's going on, Marcus? Thanks for joining us tonight. The next we got on the list is Chargers Tyrod Taylor. So we know about his struggles and the things been going on with that rib and that punctured lung that he had from medication that was trying to be administered to him. He's not in a position to rule the quarterback out, but I would probably say for fantasy reasons, it's a safe bet not to play Tyrod Taylor this week. He's recovering from a nasty rib injury, and then we're talking about a collapsed lung that could have actually cost him his life. Right. So really, we're looking for some legal ramifications coming from this against the team. But as far as him playing and performing well, I just don't see that just yet. Then we got Tariq Cohen. It's his ACL, y'all. He's officially placed on season-ending IR. So if you have him on your list, go ahead and put him on IR and look for another serviceable running back. DeAndre Hopkins, it's his ankle. He misses practice today. He's looking to be a game time decision, but would you really trust a hobbled DeAndre Hopkins? I know he's a great player, and since I want to hear from you on this, I know he's a great player, and he did practice yesterday, and he's expected to be in full practice on Friday, but I think you should avoid him this week. What you think, Sense?
I mean, it just depends on the severity of the ankle injury. If it's just a minor tweak, I would, ain't nothing that a little, taping up couldn't fix. And, if he says he's good to go, I would test him out like, pre-game. If he's good, if he's at full speed, then, I would say you're ready to go.
Yeah, keep in mind they do have the Carolina secondary this week. So it's possible that he could just be licking his chops even if he's not at full strength. My main concern is, remember when Mike Evans played against the Saints and he had he had a hamstring, I think, during that game. And I think he only got one catch. He got a garbage touchdown at the end of the game. So, of course, that's a little bit of points. But what you expect from a beast like that, you expect him to be from start to finish dominating on the field. And that would be the reason why you would start him. But I'll leave that up to you guys. He's a 50-50 call for this week, whether he'll get you a ton of points. But again, he is going against the Carolina secondary. So there's some possibilities there. Mm-hmm. All right, next up, we got Leonard Fournette. It's his ankle. He did not practice today. So, of course, it's iffy whether he'll be in full practice tomorrow. And then, of course, whether you start him or not. I mean, Leonard Fournette has had a shaky start to his season. I know he is that dude, but whether he can start going like, say, a Dalvin Cook, I don't know. So for this week, personally, I think I would probably pass on Leonard Fournette. And I'm actually talking to myself, because I have Leonard Fournette on my team. So I'm probably looking towards benching him. But you can let me know your thoughts on that.
I concur on that move. Definitely bench him.
Okay. All right. Philip Lindsay. It's his toe. And y'all know how that turf toe can be. It could be a lingering thing that causes a back, especially not to be able to cut like they normally would. So it could affect the type of downhill running style that he likes to have. But they're saying that he's unlikely to play tonight against the Jets. So if you have Philip Lindsay in your lineup, go ahead and put him on the bench because he's unlikely to play tonight. Then we go to Julio Jones. Right. He's trending in the right direction towards playing on Monday night against the Packers. And they're going to need him against the Packers. So per Falcons head coach Dan Quinn, I don't know why we would follow anything that he says at this point. He's a dead man walking, but that's just my opinion. So Jones was inactive week 3 due to a strained left hamstring. And then here's a quote. It said, well, he's definitely getting more opportunity, more chances to go, says Quinn. He had some running. He'll be doing some rehab run. Did all the walkthroughs today. So he's definitely practicing already at a higher level. Okay. And we know it's Julio Jones. He is that dog. He is that beast. But do they really need him with the resurgence of Ridley? And you got Gage on the other side running the slot and sometimes in wide. So I would say that you might want to rest this guy, even though he plays this week. I don't think he's going to be too much of a factor. Yes, Matty Ice and that high-powered offense is doing some great things. They just can't hold a lead on defense. I don't know what's going on. And Dan Quinn is the defensive coach, so I'm not sure what's happening there. But what you say about Julio Jones, Sam?
I mean, it would depend on the fantasy owner. If you're like, say, at the bottom of the standings and if Julio is ready to go, I mean, at the worst, he's going to get you what – maybe over 12 points, which will definitely help you in those type of tight game situations with your opponent. If you're like maybe 10 points shy of a win, then I would definitely suggest starting him. If you're kind of like already up there and you don't really need him, then I would advise that you just kind of sit him, maybe put him at a flex at best, which would couldn't hurt.
Okay. Yeah, if Julio is your best receiver that you have on your team and that waiver wire doesn't have anything that's better than 12 to 15 points, then yeah, I would make sure I start him in sub point. Maybe the flex position is a good spot, or wide receiver 2. Certainly make sure that you're doing your diligence up until game time. Because remember, you can make those changes up until game time. Somebody might come available that you might want to switch. Might be somebody hot that we talk about in a few minutes that you might want to put in there that's out there in your league, but certainly keep that open. All right, next up, we got Cam Akers. He's got ribs, and he's unlikely to play in week 4. So the Rams have an interesting turnstile at running back going on. You really don't know, who's going to be back from injury. They all got some ailing things, but then there's not really one Rams running back that's really solidifying that position to say, I got this. So it looks like they're going to continue with – Go ahead.
I wouldn't say that just yet. Go ahead. did pretty good against the Bills last Sunday. That I think
pretty good though. Pretty good. Do you think he slammed that hammer down and saying, I need to be the quote unquote dog in this offense?
I don't want to give away too much, but because I'll talk about it more in my segment.
Okay.
But I think that this is a wave you might want to ride.
Okay. All right. You heard it there. We gonna see, because you know I'm gonna come back on him if he's not right. Yeah, I know that. All right. So we got Will Fuller the fifth, my man from Notre Dame, the Golden Domer. He has a hamstring, and he's been added to Thursday's injury report. So he was limited in practice today. So, of course, when we think about the targets that he would get as the number one receiver for Deshaun Watson, if he plays, he's still going to get that number of targets. But the problem is, will he have that blazing speed that we know him to have? And will he be able to get the separation that he needs in order to make the big plays? I
see Cobb getting more burn than Fuller, especially the way he's been playing as of late.
Right. And that would be a good choice, because if Cobb is out there, a lot of people don't have him starting if he's out there. If he's waiting to be picked up on the waiver wire, I would say that this week might be a chance for you to drop a very unproductive player on your team and pick up Cobb and put him in, because Deshaun is still going to be Deshaun. They might not be winning, but he has not had a bad game this season, and he's not expected to. So look for him to still run and pass like the bad boys in the league and still get you some fantasy points if you have Deshaun Watson too. See, I just leaked that out there too. Odell Beckham Jr. It's another one on my team.
ODB.
And he's added to the injury report. So it says that on Thursday he was added to the report and was listed as limited participant. So that does not bode well, because you need for him to be feisty, number one. You need him to be running his routes. And if there's a back issue, you know he's not going across the middle. And then with Baker Mayfield, yeah, he can get the ball down the field. But will he have time this week in order to do that? Because I don't sleep on the Cowboys front four, but I also know that they have the ability to blitz as well. So will the timing be off to get Odell down the field? Because I know with a back situation, he's not going across that middle, because he's going to make a business decision. He don't want to take shots anywhere in this midsection of back area. So he'll probably be running out routes the whole game. I mean, he'll get you a couple of first downs, but I don't see big points coming from Odell Beckham Jr. this weekend. All right. So what else we got on the injury news? I know you got a few others since that you can.
Dallas Goedert, the tight end for the Eagles, a.k.a. Wentz's second option, he's out on injury reserve for a couple of weeks with a fractured ankle. And I know Devontae Adams, I don't know if you mentioned him yet, but he's still on the injury reserve list as well. Allen Lazard has been taking the majority of the touches from Rodgers.
Excellent. I would also stay away from Chris Carson. He's expected to try to come back and play this week from his knee injury that he suffered early in the season, but I would keep him on the bench. I know he is a beast when he gets going, but coming back from a knee injury, you never can tell how a running back is actually going to run. Will that explosiveness be there? Will he be thinking about it? Will he use the cutback or anything like that? So I would sit him this week. Same thing with Jared Cook. He has a groin, and he was missing in practice on Wednesday and limited today. I know he's a big target. He has great hands, but again, with a groin, it's going to be hard to get down that field on them timing routes and things of that nature. And again, I know he has good hands and he can catch and he's a big target, but he's iffy as far as fantasy numbers are concerned to get you a big game.
A groin changes everything. I mean, ask LeBron last year.
Yeah, you can ask our boy over here, number 99, about the groin situation, Chase Young, because he was having a great season, y'all, and to see him go down already, it hurts. It hurts, but we'll see how that comes out. All right, so we're gonna get you down to who we should sit and who we should start. So I'm gonna turn things over to Sense.
Thank you, sir. So for our starts, aka the for show list, I have the man who I just kind of teased you guys with, Mr. Darrell Henderson, against the Giants. He had a big game against Buffalo with Cam Akers still injured. He's going to have an even bigger game against the Giants defense, who have allowed four running backs to either score or run for at least 100 yards in the past 3 games.
Yeah, that Giants defense is trash. It's
super suspect. Which is another. If you have the Giants defense, you might want. I mean, I'm surprised you haven't considered going to the waiver wire already.
Yeah, get rid of them.
I'm just saying. All right, next we got Aaron Rodgers, that bad man against Atlanta. Atlanta has allowed the most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. So expect for Aaron Rodgers to have a beast game and continue this wave of proving everybody wrong and being on his y'all must have forgot tour.
And you know what's going to happen here? Even if Atlanta gets a lead, they're going to blow it.
Anyway. Aaron Rodgers is going to be
right.
Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers and have a comeback game.
Right.
Next we have Devontae Parker against Seattle. Seattle has allowed the most receptions. This was surprising, with 76, and the most yards to opposing receivers at 1,136. The Cowboys have been the latest benefactor of that, as you saw in the last game before Russell pulled his heroics. But I mean, with that said, like any receiver against Seattle's defense is not the Legion of Boom anymore, even with Jamal Adams. So any receiver you plug in, and this week will be Devontae Parker. If you have him, definitely start him. Next, also talked about him earlier, Allen Lazard against Atlanta. With Devontae Adams' injury, it gives him more chances to have a big game. And lastly, with tonight's game, I have Noah Fant, the tight end of the Broncos, against the Jets defense. I mean, no explanation is really necessary. Right. Even with a new quarterback in Brett Rippon, I think like
and no relation to Mark.
No relation to Mark. But the tight end is always your safety blanket, your security blanket. Look for him to get a lot of looks from Rippon in this. So now we go to my sons of the week. First, and I'm sorry to say it, we have the Washington defense against Baltimore. With Baltimore getting shellacked the way that they did against Kansas City, I expect Lamar Jackson to be mad and to take it out on Washington in this battle of the Beltway. I expect like 5 touchdowns, 3 throwing, 2 rushing. You heard it here first. Next, I have Daniel Jones against the Rams. I mean, I don't really need to explain that. Danny Dimes has been nothing but dimes. He's been negative dimes. Actually, he been asked for your money back because he hasn't been that dude that y'all a lot of people had hyped him up to be last season. Next, we have, and I think you have him on your roster, Prof, Terry McLaurin against Baltimore. So, yeah, I would sit him because with the exception of Marcus Peters, who really didn't have a great game, Baltimore secondary is pretty solid, especially with Marlon Humphrey, who just got an extension, by the way. Congratulations. But, yeah, I could see them shutting Terry McLaurin down and giving Haskins a lot of trouble. Really not even time to look McLaurin's way. And last, I have Todd Gurley against Green Bay's defense. Todd Gurley really hasn't been that person, and I'm sorry to say that because he's on my roster. He hasn't been that running back that many expected him to be on a new team. I think he's scored maybe 1 touchdown a game, which is okay, but he's not that explosive Todd Gurley we have all known him to be, especially from his days with the Rams. So those are my sensible picks for the week. Choose sensibly.
Let me holler at you a little bit on Terry McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with the analysis, but it's a different caveat that I would add. The offensive line is struggling, and it's struggling terribly. So for Haskins, in order to be able to get to his number 1 threat, he's going to need time. So I don't know if Scott Turner is going to run some boots. He going to run some heavy tight end packages. Like there's something that they need to do in order to make sure that the edge rushers, are not wreaking havoc on my man this weekend.
I would say
to be able to hit McLaurin in stride and to be able to do it without the high balls or things going astray, he's going to need that time. And if he doesn't have it, I agree with you. They're going to be able to double down on McLaurin. They're going to be able to do some high lows. They're going to be able to put a safety on him over the top, make sure he don't get blazing, out there and things like that. So this is why, to me, in order for that to be able to happen, you're going to have some McKissick. You're going to have some Logan Thomas. They're going to have to work the middle of the field to kind of back that defense up. But what were you going to say?
No, I was just about to piggyback off your point and say also Gibson will be very crucial in this game, because if you can hit him for like short screens for major yardage, that opens your running game up, which also opens your passing game, which then gives McLaurin catching somebody slipping in a post or something like that, because McLaurin is fast. So I mean, it's highly plausible for him to catch a DB slipping and bust for that big play. Yeah. So
I gotta say, buyer beware with anybody from starting anybody in a prominent position from the Washington football team offense, because we really don't know who the man is at running back. You got McKissick, it's just too much going on in an offense that has not settled in yet. Right. And then you don't have that primary target. Yes, McLaurin is the primary target, but one of the criticisms out of the past couple of weeks is that he's not getting enough targets. And that's because Dwayne is not getting enough time in the pocket. So how they're trying to spread the ball around, there's really not a real strong fantasy pick to start with this team. Flex position you might want to think about, but definitely the 1 and 2s, I probably wouldn't start. Yeah. And he's not against the Ravens anyway with this thing. And breaking news. This is why I always pay attention. Wide receiver Allen Lazard just underwent core muscle surgery this week and is out indefinitely. So if you have him, you got to pull him. Yeah, it just came down. Shout out from Adam Schefter about 11 minutes ago. So, if you got him, you got to pull him. He just had core muscle surgery, and we'll research and let you know exactly what that means. So, yes, thank you for that. And Todd Gurley is a goal line threat, but he don't look like that home run hitter he used to be. So we'll see as his season develops. All right, so let's get down to our next topic. We go into the top dogs for this week. So, of course, we already mentioned him a little bit earlier, none other than Calvin Ridley, wide receiver for the Falcons. Despite ATL not being able to close out games, Matty Ice will still be able to find his top receivers for big yards. Watch as Ridley leads the way yet again with a monster game in receptions, yards, and a TD. Oh, yeah, this hurt to say next, y'all. Dak Prescott will be a top dog this week. Quarterback, Cowboy. Wants his money. All right, let me just say that. He had a sick fantasy game as far as numbers last week against the Browns. He will do more of the same. Look for Dak to set the tone early and never allow this game to be imbalanced. Good for over 300 yards and 3 TDs and a stellar performance. And that hurt to say. Alvin Kamara, running back, Saints. Someone has to keep being the bell cow in New Orleans while Mike is out. They desperately need to keep games close while Breeze and Peyton figure out an offense that does not have the top weapons in Mike Thomas. Now, if you guys know football and you've been watching this Saints offense, it does not have anything to do with the age of Drew Brees, because his numbers are actually pretty decent. Sean Payton's pay calling all of a sudden became suspect to me, because I'm used to him stretching the field, whether you got Mike Thomas or not, just to open up lanes for Kamara. And all I'm seeing is a lot of dinking and dunking that's not getting the job done. This offense has the talent on it to spread the field. What is Sean Payton doing? But I still look for Kamara, even in the screen game, even in the short passing game, even in the slot, to make big plays like he just did. He can get that ball for a 5-6 yard catch or run and then take it to the house, because he is that dude. Look for him to be leaned on a lot out of the backfield and in the passing game. Sleepers for this week. I know Deshaun Watson. With the focus being on so many other teams, Watson has not played poorly. Yet many people are considering not starting him. Will Fuller V is starting to emerge as a bona fide number one, even with the injury, and when he is fully healthy, can blaze down the field as a top 10 wide receiver. Watson is ready to be unleashed, as the Texans can only go as far as his talents would take him. That's why I call him a sleeper. Now check this one out. This is for tonight. Jamison Crowder, wide receiver, Jets, is coming off of a hamstring injury, but should be good to go. He represents the most dangerous offensive threat that the Jets have, and Darnold has to have at least a couple of good games. And if not, guess who's ready to come up? None other than Joe Flacco. Did y'all even know he's still in the league? But one thing I do know about Joe is that Joe can throw the long ball. And James Crowder, if you remember his time here in Washington and a little bit with the Jets, he still is a threat with the long ball.
And that's dangerous. Very dangerous.
Even if we have a Joe Flacco sighting tonight, because that man, that interception, that pick machine isn't playing well in Darnold, then look for Crowder to have at least a good game and to scare this defense just a little bit. He'll have some opportunities, and he's a big play threat. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back, Chiefs. This may sound a little crazy, but Edwards-Helaire has cooled off a little bit, and he has gone a little under the radar. He will rise again like he did in game 1, because against the Patriots, he will be needed as that secret sauce in that mix that Andy Reid and Mahomes will need to keep down the resurgence of Cam Newton. For the quick hits, Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Ravens. Washington football team will get a heavy dose of this young man. With all the injuries starting to pile up on that defensive line for Washington, look for Action Jackson to strike fast and strike hard like Cobra Kai. After that embarrassing loss on Monday night, the Ravens will show no mercy to the ailing burgundy and gold, or should I dare say, Red Wolves.
Keep the leg.
All right, keeping it moving. Russell Wilson, quarterback, Seahawks. I could not resist. Danger Russ is going to be lightning in a bottle against the Dolphins. This offense will strike so quickly, Miami is suddenly going to be out of the game, and no amount of Fitzmagic will pull them close. Mike Evans, wide receiver, Bucks. Hard to believe that this fellow was hurt a couple of weeks ago and gutting it out in a lackluster performance. Now he is looking like his real self. Brady will get him started fast and feed the cyborg so much that he can make an impact before Brady starts to spread the ball around. On to the quiet storm. Adrian Peterson, running back, Lions. I told you that it was tough to get him off the field once he gets going. AD is a happy man these days, but I need him dissatisfied and a little angry. Once again, he will be steady, get tough yards, and a TD to be productive in trekking toward another record. David Johnson, running back, Texans, does not seem to be rusty. The Vikings defense can be gashed and bloody. Johnson will continue to serve notice that he can still play at a high level. He is a good 2 or flex option this week. Now, I know I said something earlier, but I'm going to keep him as my quiet storm. J.D. McKissick, running back, Washington football team. He is quietly beating out Antonio Gibson for more touches in each game. Not sure of that strategy, but he has more playmaking ability in those games, especially against the Ravens, whom they are familiar with just a little bit from his time playing out west. And his ability is needed against the Ravens as they concentrate a lot on Terry McLaurin. And we just made that point a few minutes ago. McKissick should have a solid game and have a few runs in the secondary and a few catches for solid possession-saving third downs. So look for him. I would be iffy on him, but that's why I got him down at the quiet storm, because he might make that quiet impact on a game to make a little bit of a difference. All right. You ready for my closers? You ready, Cinch? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Drew Brees, quarterback, Saints. This week, Brees will put some naysayers to bed with his performance. He will indeed outduel Matt Stafford and get this offense humming so the defense can find its soul. Because something has happened with this New Orleans defense. With all the Pro Bowlers they have, the All-Pros, they just not getting the job done. And I need them to kind of step it up. So if Drew Brees and that offense can handle some ball control this week, they can give this defense some rest so they can close out games the way they need to.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook, running back, Vikings. It is hard to predict who will actually win this game, but down the stretch, this man will be a factor, and he will rack up the yards and a touchdown in the fourth quarter for a late resurgence and put the Vikings and Cousins in position. Last week, his numbers were just sick. And closer number 3, Aaron Donald, edge rusher and defensive end for the Rams. It is time for someone on the Rams to be fed up and pissed off. I look to him to change the game and continue to belittle the Giants as they are already looking towards next year, and their first-year head coach should be looking for an exit door.
I see what you did there, though. Nice playing.
Yeah. Hey, we got to keep it real, man. You know exactly what the deal is so they can make proper decisions.
Absolutely.
Heard all the news that we shared with you tonight. We got the breaking news on Mr. Lazard. So I know he was a good to go in many fantasy leagues, but he is out indefinitely. He had surgery today. So make sure you pull him and put him on your IR. Go ahead, Sam.
Add one thing to that. So with all that said, with this breaking news, look for Marquez Valdes-Scantling if you don't have him already. Pick him up because it's all on him now.
That's right.
The other receivers being injured, it's going to be on him and Aaron Jones. So, and you know, like Aaron Rodgers loves to throw that long ball. Marquez, if he can catch them daggone passes, he will be a great option for either wide receiver 2 or even flex.
Right. And shout out to Aaron Rodgers because I know people have always given most of the love to Brady for throwing the no-name receivers and not having, you know, the sexy wideouts and all that kind of stuff. But Aaron Rodgers has been doing the same thing, especially over the last several years. And this is why we were all puzzled on draft day when they didn't get him some more weapons.
Right.
So he makes the cats that he has look phenomenal. So, yeah, I like that pickup. I like that advice. So definitely, you know he's going to sling it. So you might as well put that next man up in that position to be able to shine. All right.
One other thing, I'm surprised you didn't mention him. And Josh Allen, he has been balling out. Like as far as like that heavy hit.
I would give people a rest from my Josh Allen talk because I've been talking about him on the Tuesday show as well as the Thursday show. But it goes without saying that even though, you know, there's several other quarterbacks who are starting to surge, he has been steady from game 1. So if you have him on your roster, you better start him because he will have another phenomenal game. He is proving that he is a growing threat in this league for years to come. It is not a fluke. He stays healthy, he's rugged, and he can play. And he'll get you that scramble every now and then for a nice first down.
My man is durable. My goodness.
Yeah. So definitely, thanks for giving him a shout out. But I thought I would give people a rest because I've been on his bandwagon since week 1. So yeah, so cool. So all right, y'all, we got y'all ready for the kickoff. If you're watching the game, cool. You know, I'm gonna watch a little bit of it to see what's happening because I want to see Jamison Crowder get off, even though I don't have him. But just so my advice that I give comes to fruition, and then I can go to sleep very happy.
Well, yeah, let me make my quick roster changes. I think I got Judy on the on my roster. I got to make sure though.
Oh yeah, you better do that right now because they might not know. All right, y'all take care. We'll see y'all next week.